I'm really interested in the history of wrestling, and I understand it goes way, way back. Um, way maybe even before it did in the East. Maybe it was even well established in the Middle East and around the Mediterranean, maybe
Hmm.
thousands of years ago.
So I think there's a lot of places of origin. Uh, Officially, it's the oldest documented sport in human history. Around 3000 BC in Egypt, there are some tablets they found with like
Wow.
wrestling techniques, like high C single legs and stuff we do today, and like throws that you're
Uh,
like, oh, I know what that is. That makes sense. We do that move right now. That's a lat drop, or that's a hip toss, or
right.
that's a double leg, and it'd be interesting to find out what their rules were,
Uh-huh.
because there's so many different rules, right? Like original Egyptian folk style. uh
Yeah, and then it came through Greece through pancration, right?
yep. And wrestling, they so the
Ah,
original Greek Olympiad had wrestling and pancration. So I think pancration more
wow.
close to MMA, like ish, where wrestling probably they didn't have the strikes, I would guess. And that's, I don't know, 1000 BC to 500, 400, 300 BC in that age
Right.
range. And then you have like India at the same time developing their own style of wrestling, and you have
Ah.
like China developing their own style of wrestling, and then of course we go to Japan and we have jujitsu, judo, right,
Judo.
which is all wrestling.
Right.
I learned something really interesting lately from a an individual who studies quite a bit of kung fu.
Ah.
A lot of the kung fu forms where you see where they like push, sweep, pull, that
Hmm.
looks very maybe flowy and not applicable as much.
Right, right.
His words to me were, kung fu is 90% wrestling. He's like, the push pull stuff you're seeing, they're doing it very upright for forms, for show. So,
Uh-huh.
because it's to show people. But if you were to apply it, it would be much more in a hunched, wrestling, guarded, drive, push, pull, attack. And specifically, I'm thinking of one, and I almost can't. Here, we got film,
Sure, sure.
where they kind of do this very push pull flowy attack.
Yeah, and Tai Chi as well.
If I were to
That's
see
fun.
that, it's really, I'm pushing on the upper body, right? I'm
Right.
pushing on the upper body, sweeping down, hooking a leg, and now I have a single leg. And now I go finish you from a single leg. And you kind of see that in Muay Thai, even though they're striking, you see
Uh-huh.
a lot of grappling, very similar. So it's interesting, but it also probably makes a lot of sense that it would be a very worldly martial art or sport, right?
Right.
You need to find a way to protect yourself
Right.
and to train your warriors, and we can't do so in a way where we're just beating each other up and we're injured all the time, right? So
Right.
then you find efficient ways to train, to defeat your enemy, to then maybe develop a sport as well, which builds our populace. I think in ancient times it would have been so much more worldly applicable and just like, oh yes, we all wrestle. Whereas now it's like,
Hmm.
oh no, we scholastically wrestle, or you're in this MMA club, or jujitsu is
Right.
different, wrestling with more positions. You know what I mean?
I see. I
Yeah.
see.